Hi everyone, it's Stuart. Once again, going to be sharing today with you the topics on the keys to an achievable outcome. It's directly out of NLP textbooks, and one of the most important things that you need to remember is I'm going to share with you how to apply that. So thank you very much if you've already subscribed to this channel, and if you are new to this channel, a very warm welcome. Hit that subscribe button so that you can find out more. Now, we're going to be talking a lot about the way we should institute goals, and most of the other topics that we're talking about talk about sustaining motivation. There are quite a number of useful tactics there, and this is going to be focused centering around outcomes and how they should take shape in the first place. So let's start out with step one. And step one is to figure out specifically what you want. So you're going to have to state it in a positive. So in order to state it in a positive, let me give you an example of what it means to state things in a negative. I don't want to be negative this year. If you were to follow my train of thought, don't think of a blue elephant. Don't think that the blue elephant is getting into the car, and don't think that it's driving down the highway. Now, the moment you have this inside your head, it's going to just propagate the images. So you want to create something that's stated in the positive so that your mind is able to recognize that that's exactly what you want. So if you are going out and saying, hey, I want my dream vacation, then state it in a positive. Say, I'm experiencing my dream vacation this year. So step two is really to make sure that you are in your present moment and figuring out where you are right now. Because a lot of the time, we're simply missing certain kinds of resources that will get us to where we need to go. Well, that's a bit of a misnomer, but you'll understand what I mean in a short while. Next, let's talk about specifying the outcome as if it's happening now. So what's happened is you're here, your outcome is here. What you need to do is take this outcome and bring it to the present moment. Instead of saying, I will, or I should, or I am going to, which is something that puts your time reference in the future, what you want to do is take that and bring your time reference into the present. So what you're saying is, I am freely enjoying my vacation in 2018, and you're experiencing it in the here and now, feeling what you should be feeling as if it's there. Next, once you're able to get yourself into this feeling, you're going to identify what we call evidence procedures. Evidence procedures are really simple. Basically, if you are in a shopping mall, how do you know you're in a shopping mall? If you're driving a car, how do you know you're driving a car? If you've increased your income, how specifically do you know that your income has increased? In all of those cases, there are sensory pieces of evidence that enable you to do that. Things that you see, things that you hear, and things that you can feel. So in the case of having an increase in income, if you stated it in the positive and you're saying, I am enjoying an increase of 15% of my income from last year, then you'll be able to see it. It might be a bank statement. It might be you being able to take your family out on a vacation. Any of that specific form of evidence that is showing that you actually can hold on to that increase of income. So it needs to be something that feels and experience in the tangible form. So in step 5, we talk about whether the outcome is congruent with you. We're really talking about your own personal values, and one of the things that I do is I teach people how to identify their values, and that is probably something that we'll come up with in a subsequent video, which is really, really powerful. But I'd like you to take a sense of your own personal values. What are the things that are most important to you in terms of the end states that you want to have? Happiness, fulfillment, sense of satisfaction, freedom. All of these are valuable and they're important to you. As long as they maintain a certain hierarchy, you've got a hierarchy of values that defines you, that sets the direction for you. If you're out of whack on that, then it's very likely that you're going to feel extremely incongruent. If you're a person who believes in integrity but you're stealing money all the time, it's just going to eat you up inside. So one of the more important things is for you to recognize that values are critical in terms of identifying your future outcome. If your true north bends towards that future outcome, that's perfect. If it doesn't, then you know that you shouldn't even be pursuing it in the first place. Next, once you're able to do all this, you have to ask yourself, am I in charge of doing this? For example, with friends, am I in charge of making my friends? Yeah, sure. You could spend more time with the friends that you want and less time with the friends that you don't necessarily want to hang out with. You could also spend more time and effort in learning how to manage $1 million, right? However, there are certain things that you cannot change. Like, for example, you couldn't control the interest rates no matter how hard you tried. I mean, you could lobby. I mean, if you're in the United States, I'm quite sure you could lobby for it. But there are macroeconomic situations which are frankly outside of our sphere of control, possibly even our sphere of influence. The other thing is, even if it's controlled by other people, what is their role? Are they people who are joining you and assisting you in doing this? Like team members within a company? Are they going to be supporting you in some way? And in which case, there's another goal, which is a relationship goal that you'll need to deal with. So in the next step, step 7, you'll need to contextualize things. Like for example, yes, you want to become a millionaire, but you don't want to be a millionaire by committing suicide, and placing a $1 million bet, for example. That's firstly not ecological. Number 2, it's going to be something that is going to be reliant on some place and time that may not very well be appropriate for the rest of your family members. At the same time, $1 million, 50 years down the road may not necessarily be what you want. You may want it in 10 years' time. So you need to contextualize it in terms of when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, and with whom it's going to happen with. So at the time where you accomplish this, as you're seeing your environment, place it in the present moment, see yourself having achieved it. What's the time? What's the date? Where are you specifically? Are you here in Singapore or in the United States or in Australia or in Europe or in the Philippines? Where are you exactly? And finally, with whom are you sharing this outcome with? Is it your family members? Because sometimes achieving the outcome is only valuable because of those people around you, right? So understand that there is a context that you need to put into place. Now that you've formally fleshed out this here and now picture, then ask yourself, in order to get this goal to come into my life, who must I be? What resources must I have? What behaviors must I have? So I'll give you a very good example of how all this came about, especially this YouTube channel. I started to ask myself, what exactly do I need? I mean, I need to reach out to an audience. My goal is to actually reach out to 5 million people, and I'll be very happy if I've got 5 million views, but I'm much more excited about having 5 million subscribers. I'm just gonna put it out there because at the end of the day, I've spoken to close to 600,000 people across the world. Live, I'm quite sure I have a much better and bigger reach on YouTube, to be honest. So since I'm here, I'm just gonna put it out there, and I'm quite sure it's just a matter of time before I reach out to that many people. But at the same time, I have this idea, this target of reaching out to 5 million people by the year 2020, and there's not much time left. I'm not sure whether I'll hit it, but I'm just gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna say it's possible in the next 3 years. Right now, I've put myself into that future. I'm gonna ask myself all the gains, all the pains of actually doing that. And you can tell, doing this editing, it can be a pain in sometimes, right? But as we're going through this process, I'm asking myself, is it gonna be worth it? Am I gonna be touching more lives? And well, it's gonna be meaningful for me. I'm gonna see a lot of people who'll be gathering around me and telling me, hey, Stuart, this is a really good video. It has helped me change my life. So as I'm hearing more of that, I feel even more empowered. I'm seeing the benefits, I'm firing the right kinds of anchors. If you haven't heard about the anchors yet, go back to episode 2 and learn a little bit about toward and away from motivation to drive your goal setting. I ask myself, is it self-initiated? Can I maintain it? Can I act on it? Can I control it? And the answer is, of course, yes. I can schedule my videos, I can do my recordings, I can edit them, and all that kind of stuff. Will I have enough time to do every single thing every single day? Well, fact is, I don't know. I'm just gonna hit it, and I'm gonna see what happens as a result of this attempt. So far, I think I'm doing pretty well. So as that goes on, I'm gonna ask myself, what other resources do I need? Well, I'm gonna need some input, and that's where you guys come along, right? I'm gonna ask you whether you've got any questions, any queries. I've got a community of close to 1,000 people. I'll probably share it in their forum. I'm gonna probably list this on my Facebook page and get the people who are already supporting me to come and watch that video. So over the course of time, as I'm visualizing this and I'm seeing this, I'm asking myself, what other resources do I need? And truth of the matter is, I just need a sense of productivity, a schedule. And this is why every single day, every single morning or afternoon before I head off for my workout, I'm just gonna be doing a simple video. And it could be real early in the morning or it could be like in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. But the fact is, I'm just gonna sit down and I'm gonna do what I need to do in order to accomplish the goal that I want. And as I'm doing this, I'm very sure that the milestones are not gonna be wildly like, just because I did a video on personal development, I suddenly had 5 million subscribers. That's not the point. The point is I'm searching and I'm identifying things which will make things meaningful for the people around me so that they elevate themselves from where they are to where they could be. And this is one of the key reasons why this channel even exists. So I hope that this has been beneficial for you. As you take a look at a summary of all the keys to an achievable outcome, I hope that you'll be able to identify specifically what you need to do. And finally, we talk about ecology. This is where something called the matrix of consequences comes into the picture. You'll see it right in front of your screen right now. So in this entire matrix, you'll notice that there are 4 quadrants of consequences, not just one. Most of the time when people talk about achieving their outcome, they're only thinking about the plus X plus Y quadrant. Now that's not enough, because if you know that this is worthwhile, you'll have to deal with a lot of consequences that come out of the benefits of staying the same. Because if you feel that it's so beneficial to stay the same, what's going to help you to move to that quadrant? So as a result, it's going to require you a little bit of thinking to help you to move to that next level, so to speak. And if it's worthwhile, you will deal with all the reasons why you should not stay the same and combat the various different kinds of quadrants. If there are any disadvantages of actually achieving that goal, you would have found some contingency plan in order to deal with it. For example, there was a guy I was working through the matrix of consequences, and he said, that he wanted to become a millionaire. I said, how do you know that you've got $1 million in your bank account? And he said, well, I'll check my bank statement and I know that that's there. I said, great. So what are the disadvantages of being a millionaire? And he said, well, there are none. I said, pause for a moment, just think about it for a while. If you had $1 million right here and right now, put yourself as if you've already gotten it, what key disadvantages could you have? And he listed a few. The first would be he wouldn't know whether his friends were genuine or not. Second thing was that he may end up overspending and that he wouldn't really know what to do with that money would just disappear overnight. So with just these 2 disadvantages of having $1 million, I told him to think about ways to deal with those. So how are you going to discern your friends? How are you going to learn how to manage your money? And through those contingencies, he was able to manage and understand the core benefits of holding on to $1 million. And of course, it became just part of the process as he was moving forward. Were there gains of staying the same? Well, he didn't have to sacrifice so much time to work, to manage people, to come up with a system and process to get there. And he said, wow, it seems actually that it's more beneficial to just stay the same. And I said, yeah, but is $1 million in your bank account worthwhile eventually? And he said, yeah. So figure out how you can get yourself away from those benefits into the benefits of actually owning $1 million in your bank account. And he said, okay, well, lazy people will not succeed. And he started to find out certain new core beliefs that will help shift him from one quadrant to the other. So if you've enjoyed this content, all I want you to do is like this video and tell your friends about it, share it on social media, let them know what you liked about it, and more importantly, let me know what you liked about it so that I can continue to build better quality content for you so that I can reach my goals. So if you have not yet subscribed, remember to subscribe to this channel, let me know that you like it, and I look forward to having you on my next episode. Have a wonderful goal setting process and make sure you practice the 9 keys to an achievable outcome.